these numbers and keep them within the destination longer. Indication, a case has been made to government of Uganda to increase investment in tourism to develop competitive products that can keep our visitors here longer. Then poor or lack of internet access, especially in protected areas. Here again, working with the Ministry of ICT, a number of areas have been accessed. So government of Uganda 3DB has provided private sector players with a relative cheaper alternative credit to complement their efforts to invest in the sector. Chair, as I conclude, the National Resilience Movement has achieved monumental landmarks on its social contracts with the people as stated in the NRA Manifesto 2021-2026. Action has been undertaken on all the 16 commitments under this ministry. The tourism industry has fully achieved 2 commitments. 11 commitments are being implemented with significant progress registered. These will be fully achieved by end of the term. And then the other 3 commitments have commenced, but with significant low progress. There is high likelihood of not being achieved. Chair, that is the Honorable Minister's presentation of the commitments. I thank you.
Join me, please, to give a very big applause to the presentation from the sector. Honorable Minister, we want to thank you for this elaborate and comprehensive presentation that touches very deeply on each and every commitment that is part of the contract that we made with the people. Now, Honorable Minister, allow me to make comments from the Manifesto unit. First and foremost, I want the unit recognizes and wants to applaud the efforts so far invested in the different commitments, and we want to agree with your rating as far as the scoring is concerned. Honorable Minister, we are very much aware that this is a leisure industry and which was hit badly at the event of this political term by COVID, and many of you and the fellow countrymen who are following can bear witness that this industry was seriously severed by the presence of COVID in this country. So I want to thank all the efforts by this sector that have been put in place in terms of recovery, and of course, plus the other enabling sectors like the Ministry of Finance, which has been able to provide some resources to make sure we are recovering. But most of the efforts are yours as you put in place mechanisms that make the sector recover. We want to take note significant progress in these areas and the area of contributing to the employment in this country. I think from the statistics that were displayed here, we are seeing how the sector has contributed almost tripling the baseline position by then. And this is one of the key challenges in this country. So we want to applaud those efforts. All Ugandans must be able to appreciate what the sector is doing in trying to support the minimization of this challenge of unemployment. Secondly, the contribution to the GDP is also significant, and it seems like there is all the hopes to increase your contribution to the GDP, and I think that's why you have been one of the sectors that has been identified in the artist program, which should be making this economy grow tenfold. We also witnessing increase in domestic tourism, so this means you have also put in strong efforts in trying to make citizens like their country. And of course, I will continue adding on your voice of appealing to Ugandans and those, especially Ugandans, because domestic tourism is where we are saying Ugandans should come and appreciate your country, come and visit. We should not be only looking at non-Ugandans or those we call the tourists who are from out of the country. We also want to appreciate the ministry's effort in trying to advocate for the waivers in the tax regimes, so that investment in this area, both by government and especially the private investment, is enabled. Yeah. However, whatever we wanted to observe, I think, was properly captured in your challenges, issues of low internet coverage, issues of branding, issues of poaching, and the human-animal conflicts. We are seeing efforts being made in that area to mitigate these challenges, and I think we can only say we look forward to making sure that probably all the necessary measures are put in place, so that by the time we conclude the term, Ugandans can still have the confidence in us, because we have been able to deliver on their expectations. So those are the observations from the unit. I now want to invite, if any, from the media, fraternity, and other members within the audience, and then we proceed from there. Yes, please, your name, your media house, and then the question or observation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Woji Viera from East African Watch, an online media house. I have two questions, but first I want to thank the ministry and government for doing all this work to promote tourism in the country. We have heard and seen what you are doing, but there is a problem. Mswahili anasema muko mnajenga tena mnabomoa, because when you look at the arrival of international tourists.
Can I help you? Just 6 inches from the mouth to the microphone.
Okay, thank you.
Then we shall hear properly.
Thank you, Minister. Minister Sam. When you look at the arrival of the tourists, from the drop from 200 to 60,000, it is worrying. Mombasa, a smaller city, last year they hosted over 3 million tourists. So there's a problem with, as I said, tunajenga tunabomoa. They are saying, especially I've talked to operators, they say any government is obstructing or is killing tourism by, example, introducing uncalled for legislations, human rights violations. Even in this issue, today when you listen to BBC, they are talking about government of Uganda went to Nairobi, kidnapped a opposition leader. It's a very big issue. Those are small things which are destroying our tourism. People are cancelling, they are coming to Uganda. That's one. Number two, it's a request from people from Namisimba district. They are saying they have been calling for Minister of Tourism to create another circuit from southern Mount Elgon to the summit, in order for a long time they have been applying for this, so that that area can also develop. And I know what I mean by tourist circuit, where tourists come and start there, climb the mountain. So I want to know, what are you thinking about these two issues? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable and the Director. My name is George Ukenya. I work with Daily Star News Online. Mine is a concern, a central question. What I need to know, or I'm wondering what informed the ministry to name the conference that is being planned to be constructed at Entebbe, the International Conference facility, to be named Mahatma Gandhi. Yet you have great leaders here in Africa. Even Museveni we would have named it Museveni at least, instead of Mahatma Gandhi. What did Mahatma Gandhi do for Uganda and Africa at large? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, yes.
Good afternoon to you all. My name is Olivia Navagala from Radio Sapiencia. I'll first of all thank the presentation that has been made. But the two questions, first, they are going to the Assistant Commissioner. One, in your presentation, you said that there has been a reduction in lions from 373 to 275. I would like to know what could be the leading causes of the reduction, and also where exactly is the reduction going into in terms of parks where these lions are. And also, in your presentation, you said there has been an increase in human wildlife cases. I would like to know what are the major causes of this increase of these cases. To the Honourable Minister, I would like to be updated on how far have you gone in terms of preparing a cabinet paper regarding to Mountain Elgon Park boundary dispute, because we've seen that lack of boundaries has resulted into endless human wildlife conflict in those areas. And lastly, can we have an update on the museum and the monument bill amendment? Because we last heard that President Museveni returned the bill for some of the provisions to be revised. I thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Honourable Minister, I think that marks the end of the observations. I now once again take pleasure to invite you to make the responses, and like I had observed, you are also at liberty to invite any of the technical teams that came with you to also support your responses. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I think I'll beg you come here because the cameras, they need you here.
We have to come there.
Yes, Honorable.
So, Mr. Kigozi, you will have to answer. Which one is your question? What informed us in naming the Mahatma Gandhi Convention Center? Mombasa compared to Uganda? Is that your question also? Why there are more tourists going to Mombasa than coming to Kampala? Did you take note of that? Something on wildlife? Dr. Msimu, will answer that? Good. Then, so we have to go there. About the bill, the young lady asked about the Museums and Monuments Act. 2023 that it had not been assented to. At the beginning, there was a clarification to be made between the Ministry of Tourism and the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development. But that matter was clarified. The bill was sent back. It was assented to. It became a statute, it became a law. And even the regulations which declares heritage sites and resources, isn't it, have also been gazetted. So now we have a fully fledged Monuments and Museums Act 2023, plus all the regulations and heritage sites and resources, fully compiled, gazetted, so it's now a complete law. I hope the young lady is listening, or she has already lost interest. Have you got the answer? Thank you. I don't know which other question I should answer, but I'll come back. So the PS is here, you can answer. So, Dr. Msinguzi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, the Director, Manifesto Implementation. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dr. James Msinguzi, and I'm the Director in charge of Community Conservation and Access to Wildlife Services at the Uganda Wildlife Authority. I'm here to represent the Executive Director. There are two questions regarding wildlife. One of them hinges on causes in human-wildlife conflicts in the country. Yes, it's true there has been an increase in human-wildlife conflicts in the country, mainly caused by increment in population. In about 1959, we were about to a few million Ugandans. Right now, we are over 40 million. So there is pressure for agricultural land, which has led to loss of habitat for the wildlife, and therefore, some of the wildlife has ended up being entangled in community land. But also what we need to know is that apart from the wildlife that is within the protected areas, about 60% of this wildlife is in private land. So as the Uganda Wildlife Authority, we are working very hard to protect the wildlife within the protected areas, but also put in place plans of how we can promote collaborative wildlife management with the community areas. We are promoting wildlife-based enterprises where the communities can earn money from the wildlife that is within their areas. We are also putting in place measures to reduce the human-wildlife conflict incidences by putting in place trenches which prevent animals from crossing from the parks to the private lands. We are putting in place stone walls. We are also encouraging communities to put in place or participate in beekeeping. The bees don't allow, for example, animals like the elephants to cross from the protected areas to the community lands. We are also promoting other measures like planting of Mauritius thorns that are able to stop the animals from crossing. We are also under the Wildlife Act, compensation for loss of life and property was approved, and now we are carrying out compensation. So far, out of about 2.1 billion shillings that has been approved for compensation by the Compensation Verification Committee, about 1.1 billion shillings has been paid out, and 1 billion is being processed for payment to communities. So yes, there is increment in human-wildlife conflict incidences because there is increment in the population, and this has caused settlements in some of the migratory corridors for the wildlife. For example, the elephants used to cross all the way up to Sudan. And right now, when they try to get to their roots, they are no longer anymore. You will find that there are some communities, for example, in Inwoya, in a place called Nyamukino, where about 19 elephants have actually left the protected area and have camped there. And so there are instances of conflict, but there are measures that are being in place to address these conflicts like I've elaborated. So this is a problem, but we are working very hard to promote community conservation, community collaborative wildlife management with the communities and the Wildlife Authority. Because even if you put in place these measures, the ultimate solution lies with us working collaboratively with the communities. We are carrying out community conservation education approaches. We are promoting a number of wildlife-based enterprises. We are also trying to see how we can improve the community livelihoods through the various interventions I've mentioned, beekeeping and others. So that's the status. Regarding the lions, yes, it's true, the lions have decreased, and this is mainly as a result of the pressure caused by increased population. There are mainly challenges of retaliatory killings by the community members. You could have heard about the killings that happened in Queen Elizabeth National Park of lions through poisoning. We have 11 fishing villages in Queen Elizabeth National Park. As you may know, Queen Elizabeth National Park is a man and biosphere reserve, so there are communities that are settled within there. So there has been a change in land use, because they were predominantly fishing villages, but now they have gone into agriculture, including rearing cattle, rearing goats, and now there is competition between the lions and those goats. So the lions kill the goats, and so the communities get angry, and they retaliate by killing the lions. We are working hard to address this through the compensation that has been put in place, compensating for these animals. And we are now at the stage of reviewing the regulations, the compensation regulations, so that we can reduce the time that is taken to do the verification and then the compensation. And we think that this should promote and improve the relationship between the people as well as the management of the wildlife in the country. So through compensation, through continuous conservation education, community engagement, improvement of livelihoods through the various interventions I've spoken about, we feel that there should be efforts to conserve more wildlife. But also, we have now put in place a directorate in charge of species management at the Uganda Wildlife Authority, which is going to ensure that we work on breeding and increasing the number of wildlife in the protected areas, specifically lions. The proposal is being developed to see how we can carry out in situ breeding within the protected areas to make sure that we increase the number of lions, because one of the aspirations of any tourist is to see the lions in their natural setting. So yes, there are problems, but we are working on them as the Uganda Wildlife Authority. Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for giving us this opportunity to address some of the concerns that are coming out from the general public. I'll address about 2-3 issues, and the first issue is to do with what really informed our decision to tag or to name the Mahatma Gandhi Convention Center in Entebbe. Ladies and gentlemen, you recall that in 2018, July, between 24th and 25th, Uganda, we hosted the Indian Prime Minister, Prime Minister Modi, and on his trip to Uganda, he made a few commitments which included, one, the construction of a Mahatma Gandhi Recreation Center in Jinja, as well as the construction of the Convention Center in Entebbe. Now, all these were 100% grants to the government of Uganda. However, certainly we had processes that we had to undergo to ensure that things are done right. For instance, at the time we needed to identify the most suitable land in Entebbe that could house the convention center. Now that took us some time. You know, also the acquisition involves ensuring that the land that you've secured is properly registered in your names. So by the time we sieved through those processes, that's the time when COVID struck, and just like Uganda was hit by the virus, India as well was hit. Their economy was hit. So just after COVID, we received communication that because of the severe effects onto the Indian economy, government of India was pulling out from what they had already granted to Uganda. But then we're like, we've already secured the land, for instance, for the convention center. There was no reason whatsoever that could deter us from ensuring that we have a convention center. So, as of now, the prospects are having the Mahatma Gandhi Convention Center, because that was earlier on the idea behind, having the land in Entebbe. I hope this addresses the concern of the first of that question. Then there was something to do with, I think if I got it right, why we are seeing more tourists visiting Mombasa than it is in Kampala. In tourism we have the 5 S's. We call them the 5 S pull factors, and that is the sun, the sea, security, the sand, and the smile. Now, certainly, much as Uganda is a peaceful place, we are selling, Kampala is a peaceful place, and we are selling largely the nightlife, but much of the sand that we sell, or the sea, actually we only have the sand, which is in Entebbe. It's for that reason that when you go to Entebbe over the weekends, you'll find a mammoth of people flocking the various beaches in Entebbe. We don't have the sea. So quite a number of people are interested in sea activities, which sea we don't have. However, much as we don't have the sea, this kind of prompted us to also look into the direction of developing and prioritizing Sese Islands for tourism. And as we talk right now, we're already coming up with a master plan for Sese Islands to develop and promote tourism on all the islands that make Sese. So much as we don't have the sea, but at least we have the waters. We have more than 40% of Lake Victoria, and we do believe we can capitalize on that to improve on our marine tourism. Finally, I think there was something from a colleague from Namisindwa, and if I got you right, you were pretty much talking of how best we can maybe document some of the attractions in the districts so that we can have a complete tourism circuit. We all know it very well that certainly you cannot promote or you cannot develop what you don't know, isn't it? So we as the ministry, it is always, it's very important for us to document, not only documenting but also profiling what we have in the country. We look at largely the tourism products that lie in the various districts, what kind of attractions are there, what kind of activities can someone engage in, how about the accommodation. We have a statistics unit that undertakes all this for us to know how many hotels do we have, how many beds can we offer, etc., etc. So we have much of this information which actually informs our decision on what to do, because much as we are cognizant of the need to improve and develop much of the tourism products in the country. We need to, first of all, understand where these products are, how to get there, but also importantly, we need to ascertain whether developing them will carry economic and financial sense. That's why we always ensure that whatever product that we develop, we undertake feasibility studies so that there is, we are sure that indeed there is value for money than simply running to set up or develop products in the various parts of the country. I think that's pretty much from me. We had a question to do with the drop. Maybe my colleague will also come and address that from the planning unit. But I think the concern was why we are seeing a sharp drop from 212,000 international tourists to about 67,000. And certainly, if you look at that table critically, these are tourist arrivals from the US, Europe, and China. And by the way, why did we opt to use 2019-2020 figures? That is basically pre-COVID period where everything seemed rosy. But then when COVID struck, so many things turned upside down. But then we are showing that at some point, actually in 2020, we got almost, if you recall, the international airspace was completely closed. So there wasn't any form of activity, and tourism definitely was among those sectors that were hit. So we are showing that much as 2019 we had 212, statistics of 2023-2024 are promising because it may not really get back to where we were, but we are basically getting there, which is a positive for us. And in fact, in some cases, like if you look at, say, statistics, numbers going to visiting our cultural places, the museums, the source of the Nile, and other tourist attractions, you'll find that we have already surpassed the numbers of the pre-COVID season. So this shouldn't worry you. We are definitely on the path to full recovery. And in fact, we've come up with so many initiatives that will certainly lead us to surpassing these numbers. Not just promoting the Uganda as a destination, but also we are vigorously developing our tourist products that will not only attract, but also retain those that will visit or that will show interest in visiting the country. I submit. Thank you so much.
Maybe Mr. Chairman, maybe the Deputy CEO, UTB, would you like to say something?
Yes, Honourable Minister, thank you so much. I think my attention was drawn to the 3 million visitors in Mombasa, and quite alarming. And I know Mombasa is being promoted as a destination. Yeah, thank you so much. I know Mombasa is being promoted as a destination, which is good, but I must say that the 3 million figures is really an over-exaggeration. Before COVID, the best arrival figure that I think is everywhere, that Kenya recorded was about 2,448,000. That is 2019. And as of end of 2023, they almost hit 2 million figure. That's for the entire country, not Mombasa. So when you say Mombasa having 3 million, it is not true. And out of this, I think America was number 1, 260, and Uganda, by the way, Ugandans, I think we were number 2 going to Kenya. Uganda, number 2 going to Kenya. So a lot of the visitors we are talking about actually, they are Ugandans going to visit Kenya. Yeah. And then number 3, Tanzania. So that's about 158,000. So when you compare 1.95 and with the figures that our commissioner gave of almost 1.3. So you can see really this is actually quite comparable. So again, I'm not sure where you got the 3 million figures from, but these are facts really. You need to just go and investigate. So let's not give a very alarming figures. Thank you, George. Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Okay, let's once again put our hands together for both the presentation and the Q&A session responses from the sector. Honorable Minister, allow me before we conclude to also show you the team I work with here at the unit. I happen to see Assistant Director Mr. Bakoja here, Richard, Gloria Mwenge, don't know where she is, Onono Okelo, our Principal Economist, Marvin Senkungu, our Economist, and I think one other person is still busy somewhere. So, I think this now marks the end of this session. Tomorrow, once again, we'll be here. And we have one also our other key sectors. This is the Ministry of Works, Transport. And as usual, our beginning time will be 9:30. Once again, allow me, on behalf of the Presidency, to thank you. First, the sector that was making its presentation. I hope Ugandans, wherever you are, you have been able to pick the facts as they are within this sector. And you, the media, please, as partners, try as much as possible, disseminate these facts to the last mile possible so that the Ugandans are able to appreciate what has been going on as far as government performance is concerned. You know, a lot has been done, but little is being talked about. And I think it also goes back to what somebody was raising about the way we also report certain things in media and their impact on the tourism. You know, so as patriots in that area, we also need to see how balanced we are so that we are able not to lose out on the bigger picture of where the government is going. I now wish to declare this session officially closed. Honorable Minister, we invite you for a photo opportunity behind here with the team. I thank you. We'll see you tomorrow again. The anthems in reverse order. Thank you. And as usual, please get in touch with our secretariat for those who want the soft copies of the presentations. Thank you.